Hey guys, Jonathan Zed here for JM Sports 100 and the JM Sports Show. How is it going? The first NASCAR Nationwide Series race of the year, the Drive for COPD 300 has come to a close, and we're here to talk about that right now. Going to give you a recap of that race. It was the first race of the 2014 NASCAR Nationwide Series season. First of all, though, before I do that, I do want to say this. For those of you who do not follow me on Twitter, you won't be aware of this. By the way, if you want to follow me on Twitter, I do talk during the races and stuff. Link is in the description. I'll also put the link to my Facebook or the JM Sports Show Facebook in the description as well. First of all, I have decided I'm not going to do a recap of the Camping World Truck Series races this year, and that's no shot at them. I think it's a very interesting series, but it doesn't seem to be very popular with anybody else that watches my videos, so I've decided that I'm not going to cover it this year. If I get bored, I may cover select races, but I don't think I'm going to cover it race by race. Alright, this race was very interesting, the nationwide race, just from the standpoint of it was interestingly not interesting, if that makes any sense whatsoever, which it probably doesn't. One thing that happened for a good majority of this race, and it'll be interesting to see if it happens tomorrow too, and that was the outside line. If you were on that outside line, you were not going anywhere. The high side was not working well at all for a good majority of the race. Things started out fairly calm. We made it to lap 9 before we really had an issue when Harris and Rhodes blew an engine. Jason White did end up getting into the oil from the blow up and did spin out, but pit road turned into Calamity Corner fairly quick. Matt Kenseth did take fuel only on that stop. He was leaving his pit box, and he avoided the 29, but could not avoid the 84. The 84 got him pretty good. His car looked like he had a little bit of a tire rub after they went back green, but that worked itself out, and he did okay. Now, the big rule that NASCAR was watching this year for the restrictor plates is you cannot latch on to another guy to draft. You can bump him, but you have to let go of him right away. And obviously, that's going to be an interesting rule that's probably going to cause controversy throughout the year, strictly because it's a judgment call. And we saw our first issue with that with James Buescher, the former champion of this Daytona race and former champion in one of the three NASCAR series. He bumped Brad Keselowski and got penalized for it. Um, uh, it was an interesting call because if you watch, there was an in-car camera on the back of Keselowski's car, and if you watch, he hadn't been on him. Buescher was not on him. Buescher was literally just tap, pull back, tap, pull back, tap, pull back. There was some other stuff that didn't get called that looked a lot more like latching on or like pushing. More so than that didn't get called. So obviously that's going to be a judgment call, and that's probably when it comes to NASCAR and judgment calls, they seem to draw a lot of controversy, and I'm sure they'll draw controversy for this as well. Uh, on lap 28, we had our next caution for debris. Not much to say there. The first the first 8 cars stayed out on that stop. The rest did not. And then for the most part, things were fairly calm. Dale Jr. had a bit of an issue on a pit stop where the tire kind of got stuck. He lost some valuable time there, but was able to make it back up. With 21 laps to go, Ryan Sieg took a spin, and he stayed off everybody and everything. But I think the more interesting thing for that is literally throughout the whole spin, David Starr was behind him. He wasn't really able to get away from him. When Sieg started to go one way, that happened to be where Star was. Star did a great job staying on his toes and avoiding contact as well. Then with 4 laps to go, I had just tweeted that I felt like we were not done wrecking. I felt a big wreck coming. I tweeted that, and the big wreck didn't really happen. But Chad Boat did go for a little spin there with 4 laps to go, which set up a green-white checker, which made things very, very interesting and very, very tight. Not that they already weren't. We saw a good finish in the we saw good finishes in the duels, especially in the first duel on Thursday. We saw a good finish in the truck race, a very close finish last night between Timothy Peters and Kevin Harvick. I'm sorry, Timothy Peters and Kyle Busch. And could we see that again in this race? Well, we were about to find out. Like I said, we underwent another green-white checker, and it came down to Regan Smith and Brad Keselowski neck and neck. Regan Smith wins it by a fender, and redemption is the word that Regan Smith used on the radio. Redemption. He was leading the race last year as well, and then got caught and then tried to block and caused a massive wreck. So he ended up bringing his car back in a heap last year. Not this year. He finds his way to victory lane. We were not quite done yet, though. Dale Jr. came across the finish line, so he didn't expect cars to slow down as quick as they did. He ended up getting in the back of Kyle Larson, who coincidentally enough was the one that ended up in the fence in Daytona last year on that Regan Smith crash. Got into him. Also got into Joe Nemechek and a couple others. And the big story for this one, Joe Nemechek took a hard hit as he was sitting back up the track, and he actually got hit by a guy whose name that I'm trying to come up with right now. It was a hard hit. Ryan Reed, I'm sorry. Ryan Reed in the 16 car, that's who it was. And Ryan Reed is actually still being checked out in the medical center, at least when ESPN had dropped their coverage. He was still being checked in the medical center. He has some diabetic issues. He wasn't feeling all that great before the race. I had to get some fluids pumped into him, so we definitely do hope that he is okay. Let's take a look at the finishing order and how things finished up here for this race. I don't have points yet because it was just first race, so I will not have points right now, and I don't know if I will have points ever at the time that I do these videos. But if I don't, then I will figure something out. Maybe I'll post them on the JM Sports Show Facebook page or something like that. Alright, guys, here we go. Well, let's go from the back of the field to the front of the field. Jeff Green finished 40th. Remember, the Nationwide Series, only 40 cars. Jeff Green, 40th. Harrison Rhodes, 39th. After having the engine issue there on lap, I believe it was 9, like we talked about. Robert Richardson, 38th. 37th, Derek Cope. 36th, Josh Wise. 35th, Eric McClure. 34th, Mike Harmon. 33rd, Bobby Gerhart. 32nd, Joey Gaze. 31st, Jason White. 30th, Jeffrey Earnhardt. 29th, Jeremy Clements. Johnny Sauter finished 28th. And that was a shame. I just want to say that was a shame right there for Johnny Sauter. Johnny Sauter was running in the top 10 at the time of the final caution there when Boat went for that spin. He was in the top 10, but one of the windows came out of the car, which made him have to make a pit stop. He came to pit road right as the field went green. Definitely a shame there. Finished a lap down, like I said, was running in the top 10 at the time. Next up, 27th was Jamie Dick. Johnny Sauter, by the way, was the last car, or Jamie Dick rather, was the last car in the lead lap, 27th. 26th, Scott Lagacy Jr. 25th, David Starr. 24th, Chad Boat still finished on the lead lap despite the spin late. Dakota Armstrong, 23rd. 22nd, Blake Cook. 21st, Landon Castle. 20th, Mike Bliss. Danica Patrick, 19th. Ryan Reed did finish 18th. Now remember, that wreck that we talked about that involved Ryan Reed and Joe Nemechek and Dale Earnhardt Jr., and others, that was after the checkered flags of the race had already finished. Brian Scott 17th, James Buescher 16th, 15th Chase Elliott 14th, Matt Kenseth 13th, Mike Wallace 12th for Joe Nemechek, 11th for Dale Jr., Kyle Larson 10th, Ryan Sieg had the spin, came back to finish 9th, so good run for him. Dylan Kwasniewski, and I believe I said that wrong. I apologize. He finished 8th. Good run for him in his first ever NASCAR Nationwide Series race. Ty Dillon finished 7th. Brendan Gaughan 6th. Here's your look at your top 5. 5th, Elliott Sadler. 4th, Kyle Busch. 3rd, Trevor Bayne, and like I said, it came down to Regan Smith and Brad Keselowski. Brad Keselowski 2nd, Regan Smith 1st. Kyle Busch led a race high 44 laps. Regan Smith led 35 laps. Brad Keselowski led 11. Dale Jr., for those of you who are interested in that, led 28 laps in the race. Of course, the race was scheduled for 120 laps and ended up going 121 laps. I can tell you, just by looking at this, it looks like Regan Smith right now will have a 6-point lead on Trevor Bayne. I can tell you that. I think this Nationwide Series is going to be something this year. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'm looking forward to it. A lot of great talent this year in the Nationwide Series. A lot of young guys, people like Regan Smith too. I think Regan Smith right now is my favorite to win this championship. Alright, the trucks get a break, but the Nationwide Series doesn't. The Cup Series doesn't. Trucks, the only series that get a break. By the way, I just want to say first that it was Regan Smith's 4th career NASCAR Nationwide Series win, his first since last season. Obviously, since it's the first race of the year. Next up for the NASCAR Nationwide Series is on March 1st, the Blue Jeans Go Green 200, presented by Cotton, the fabric of our lives. Whew, that's a mouthful to say. ABC, 3:45 Eastern Time is when that takes place out in Phoenix, so we will be back here for that. And of course, I'll have coverage of the Daytona 500 tomorrow in this capacity. Also, entry lists for the Nationwide Series and the Cup Series, I will do them again probably on Thursdays. That's where I do that. And I will also make a video probably for starting lineups and stuff for the Nationwide Series and for the Cup Series. I didn't do them for the Nationwide Series. I might still do them for the Cup Series today though. I don't know. We'll see. Alright guys, that is going to do it for me. I'm going to go take a break and then I'm going to go watch Duke and Syracuse, the college basketball game. For those of you who just follow the Nationwide Series, I don't think there's anybody that just follows the Nationwide Series, but if you are people that do that, I will see you next week for the Phoenix race. For those of you that follow the Daytona 500, I hope to see you tomorrow for the 500 recap. The NASCAR season is underway. Oh, how great it feels. I'm John Lebs up for JM Sports 100 and the JM Sports Show. I will see you guys later.